Everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning into our YouTube channel and for taking the time to step into this episode of Chatting with Him about HIM, or Health Information Management. So my name is Japera Denson, and I will be your host for today. And this is a time that we have set aside to talk to male HIM professionals about their experience in this huge and vast world of health information management. I am overjoyed, over thrilled, super excited to have today's guest on the line with us today, everybody. Listen, you might as well sit back and get ready to have a blast, a lot of laughs, and get ready to receive so much good information. I think we're going to be able to pick up some nuggets, some gems, all kinds of wonderful juice and sauce and wisdom that we'll be able to apply to our lives and our career paths from this gentleman who is on the call with us today. So without any further ado, let us welcome at this time, listen, this man is a boss in his own right. He is an exceptional coding professional, has a wealth of experience, I'll let him tell us about himself. Okay, but anyway, Mr. Herman Dixon, everybody, let's give it up for her. How do you like my sound effects, Herman?
It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna jump into it, Herman. How is life? How is the career? How is it going for you right now?
Oh, everything's going fine. It's all about work-life balance. So in this career field, it's pretty much the same as anything else. Like you just stay consistent with it, and you always have to study. I mean, so it's like you never leave school. Most majors, you know, maybe they don't even pick up the same very books that they've used since the day they've graduated, but I still keep desk references, and you just have to stay up and keep your skills sharp. So it's just a part of it. So you never really stop learning in the HIM field. It's beneficial to you as well to do so.
Okay. So you spend a lot of time outside of work doing extra studying, extra reviewing. We're going to get into that a little bit more. Okay. So Herman, let's talk about a little bit. I'm going to go into our first question for our time together today. Let's go back. So we talked about, what your life kind of looks like right now. Need to have some work-life balance, or working on work-life balance, and still spending a lot of time making sure you're sharpening your skills. Let's take us back to the beginning. Okay. So way back to the beginning. I don't know how far back you want to go back, but tell us why you chose health information management.
I think HIM chose me because I think I at first wanted to pursue pharmacy, and there was a lot of science and organic chemistry, but in the end, just looking into HIM after maybe my first or second year, or sophomore year, I saw how broad it was, and I didn't know a lot about coding per se as a job, but I saw that it was an entry-level way in. And when you go to the hospitals, there were healthcare management majors, and then in allied health, it was health information management. So a lot of people didn't know what we do or what HIM was, and that was okay with me. I just saw that it was combining computers with healthcare. So if you're a person that, you take your biology and you don't want to do the dissections and be a hands-on person, you still can affect patient care. And, if you care about people, it's a way you still can stay in the field.
Okay, so that's what drew you to HIM. Did you know about HIM before you chose that path?
Not that much. No, I did not. No, yeah. I did not. It was a lot I didn't know because it's so broad, and you got to think HIM coding was still done in a paper format. So I'm a millennial, so I was there at the transition of physical records and in small facilities, they still may have them. So there's physical records, and then it became scanned in, and now it's electronic. And if you ever work with Epic and different encoders, more than one person can be touching the chart. In the physical world, that will be somewhere in a location waiting on somebody for a signature, or just any type of thing in the revenue cycle of how you have to go about processing the records, and just our whole process that nobody understands or know the importance of, not signing off on a document, or all of the many things that we do, that we have to make it important because it helps every facility with reimbursement and things of that nature.
For sure. I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about HIM before getting into the major. I started out completely different major, a nursing major, had not ever heard of health information management or any of that. So kind of like you, choosing a different path from the onset, but finding that it was broad enough to, I would say the net was broad enough for me to fall in. I sound horrible, but the net was broad enough for me to fall in. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, it helps you with your optimism. You should have optimism that you're going to be the manager over a wing in a hospital at 20. So, I mean, it helps you because you do need direction, and it's good to go in different environments to know that it's used in the mental hospitals and see the different facilities and coding applies to everything, anything and everything tied to reimbursement. And you just don't know until you go to the environments, and then if you go on an internship, and you will see the importance of it all. But at first it may not make a lot of sense to you, but after you see that it's really in use in any type of facility, dental offices, and if you choose those specialties and outpatient clinics, you see that it's really on everything. It drives everything.
Yeah. So before we go to the next question, another question has come to my mind, and this question is, I mean, it's obvious why we are having, it may not be obvious to everybody, but part of the specialty and the curation of these conversations that we're having with men health information management professionals, part of the uniqueness of that is because men are not dominating this profession. And by dominating, I don't mean that they're not like, running things and leading. Let's be clear, okay? They leading, they're bosses and all of that. But I mean, men are not heavily populated. They're not the majority in the health information management profession. So I remember when I was even in school, in my class, in my graduating class, like there were a whole lot of guys. There maybe 3 out of, however many were in the program at that time. So I want to ask you, Herman, how was it for you when you were in your HIM program and you saw that? First, let me say, did you see that there was an influx of women?
Yes. I wouldn't call it women dominated, because a lot of people did not know about HIM. I mean, being in the allied health building, everybody else knows, what this person does: physical therapy, occupational, and it's like, what is this? What do y'all do? What do you do with that? So even though it was maybe in my graduating class, it was me and another guy, but it's all about, you can transition into HIM later on because of the way credentials and things like that are set up. So even if you don't find your way into it through college, with the RHIA T's is other people that are in other points in their career after I'm out in the professional world. Maybe they have been a nurse, maybe they were in some other administrative part of the hospital, then they just piece their skills together to make it to where they can do coding, because they learned it's all about like where you came from and how you transition. It was people in my class that, you know, I was like a pharmacy person, and there was other people that came from nursing, and then other people that they didn't have any of that because, you know, it's all anatomy, physiology, anatomy, physiology, medical terminology, those things. So I had all of those. So I just had to put it together. And it was like, oh, this is easy. You know, like I'm making some of the best grades ever now because it's like this is, you know, it wasn't a cakewalk, but it was like, okay, you know, it was all of my strengths for me. For me, it was me putting my strengths into something I could do. And then I was like, oh my God, I get to use my books for the test, you know. So yeah, it was always that for me, like having the resources and you get to use them and knowing how to use them to take tests and study. And that was always a good thing because that never changed. That doesn't change when you're taking the exam certifications, doesn't change when you're trying to apply for jobs. I mean, jobs now, you know, for face value, you do have to pass different competencies and tests and things of that nature. So it really has never changed. It's just about like, are you ready for the opportunities, you know, that you're presented with? Because, you know, you may not be able to display everything you know in a job or the current position you have, or you know, when you get given an opportunity or a job. So that's all I think it is, just being prepared for the opportunity, you know, make your own luck, and just always, you know, don't get discouraged, because I mean, you may have to work and then study after work. So, you know, just always know that even when you have a job and then you want another credential, you still have to study, you know, to get that CCS or whatever credential or organization you may want from a HEMA or AAPC or what have you. So that's on you, but that's why I like it. I like it because I didn't have to go back to school to get a master's, because, you know, your aspirations. But that's pretty much it. You following up, you
Okay. So, Herman, you said something that was very resonating. And basically, you said that when you got into HIM, you found that it was something that used all of your strengths. Like you were able to apply a whole lot into HIM. And I think that was good. So it sounds like it was a good fit for you. Yes.
oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yes, definitely was a good fit. I don't have any regrets, you know.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about first job. So we started from the bottom. We started from the way in the back. Let's talk a little bit about your first job in the field. How did you land that first job?
My first job had a lot to do with me having uh a 6-week internship in Florida. I'm in Jacksonville, so I went to St. Luke's, and I made different contacts, but I still had to apply myself. So I saw that their facility was basically scanning in medical records, still using the paper format, and then maybe about the last week of my internship, I went to Mayo Clinic, and I saw that they were using the different technology and actually using the medical record in an electronic format, EHR. So, you know, you have to get exposed to stuff to know, you know, where you will fit in, because otherwise, yes, I could have been like a new graduate, having had completed my weeks of time, and then supervising people that were scanning in records and doing release of information. So they already know how to do their specific job and their task, but is that even using my skill set, you know, to monitor other staff of, you know, a certain amount of people to just do the job that they know how to do, that they do well already. So it was more of a challenge, and I accepted the job at Mayo Clinic after I was given the opportunity, and I did have to test to do it. So I did not have my credential, you know, when I graduated. I didn't. My program, um, I didn't, but of course, after employment, I had to study, had to learn my job, had to study, get my credentials. So that was a challenge for me, moving back home to Jacksonville and then working and studying. So it was a challenge for me, but I did what I had to do to keep my job, and then just the pressure of not being credentialed, it was over. And then you just learn your job, and I just you're already studying, so you have the tools that you need. Don't have test anxiety, and buy your references and your uh, prep materials, and you should do fine, because that's what you do anyway. You just have to put it all on paper to make it happen.
Okay, perfect. So let's go to the next question. The next question is, what has this journey been like for you? I kind of feel like you may have touched on this just a little bit, especially in the very beginning. But if you could tell us again, kind of reiterate, how would you describe your experience so far?
Um, well, the journey is not over. Sometimes you feel like you can get somewhat overwhelmed. I mean, you get different management strategies, and technology has changed it. I have I have worked in the physical environment, driving to work, sitting in the cubicle, very quiet environment. I've worked in a team environment, in a dialysis unit, around more people providing care to patients. I've been close, to them. You usually don't have to develop any type of relationship with, your co-workers, because coding is come in, clock in, work, log out. But now I work remotely. So, I mean, I have worked in different environments, and it's always good to just still keep the same mindset as you would if you were in the physical environment or at a facility, because you want to be approachable. You want people to be able to ask you questions, and you want to be a resource to your coworkers, because I mean, we all at some point have questions. So that's the journey, always on being helpful to others, and just always wanting to be a resource, and letting people be comfortable asking questions, even outside of a supervisor role. Just the fact that we all are coders, and we all have credentials, you will share information, and sometimes it's good to confirm some things.
Okay, all right, awesome. So what about the future? Let's talk about that just for a little hot minute here. Where do you want your future career in HIM, or where do you want HIM to take you?
Early retirement. No, well, HIM is I did feel differently when you hear about AI. It's called automation, and different acronyms. We work in the field of acronyms, computer assistant coding. I don't know how that was going to affect the work that we do. I felt like the if it could do the job that I do, what's the use for me? But as I used to say, like, we were the final coders. I like, okay, we're like the final eyes, like we're the finalized coders, because you still need to be able to make a decision. A thing can't make a decision like a human, so that's why I always see the importance of our skill set is always going to be needed, because we're like the liaison between the doctors that need to provide patient care, and then the financial people, the MBAs and such, that run the revenue cycle, but they don't have our skill set. We are tailor fit for the job. So we do have to kind of solidify our position and show that we have the medical terminology. We know the guidelines, we know the rules, we have to apply it, and nothing stops. Everything stops until it abides by that. So that's the only thing. It's just making sure you're getting compensated for the work that you do, because you put in a lot. You have to study, you have to have CEUs, you have to constantly educate yourself, and you really want to make sure that you're getting compensated for that, because that's work that's taken away from your own family, your life. You are what you do. So make it worth it. Feel fulfilled by what you do, because you have to put in a lot of time to get I feel I do. I feel like I put in a lot of time to get out the results and the work that we do every day.
For sure. So is there like a target goal that you have besides early retirement, right? Besides early retirement, is there like, are you trying to shoot your shot in any particular basket when it comes to this HIM? Like, what about next role? Like, what field, what court are you in?
I used to entertain myself with the thought of the CEO. That's what I used to call myself. But
Herman Dixon.
It's like this, you know, there is the work and then the process, right? You have to always be preparing yourself for that moment. And technology is allowing it that the CEO can sit at home and work. So where that place that you want to go to, it's not that it doesn't exist, but it's going to change. Nobody needs to watch somebody clock in, log in, and work. We're all professionals. With this, you have to be a self-starter. You work from home. You need to have your lighting, your desk, and everything. Have an environment for work is what I'm trying to say. So if I value being able to create my space versus having to go get dressed up to sit in the cubicle. Now, I still have my resources and I can just focus on the work. And I like that. I like to be able to just focus on my work. So I don't know from a management capacity that I just want to be the best at what I do. And I can do that, helping other people is going to come with the job and the role that you get provided with, because, everybody that you work with will recognize that you are helpful, and then it'll happen organically. So you don't have to apply to that job. That job, it'll come to you if you're helpful. You will end up helping a lot of people, and we will see the same people in webinars or when we go to conventions. So I just feel like I would like to help anybody starting out from any pitfalls, just be if you want to run questions across a person that has never even considered HIM, or a person that feels stuck, or they don't want to code, or, whatever it is they're doing that they don't want to do it, not just to quit. Because you may not take your credential exam and pass the first time and get discouraged. And, that might have been paperwork you signed for a job, or you may have been telling everybody, yeah, I'm going to do this goal and that goal and that goal. So you just have to have mental toughness and, not be willing to fail, because fear of failure will stop you.
Perfect. I love it. Let's move to the next question real quick. And this next question is asking us, or asking you. It's not asking us, right? This is asking you. Herman, what advice would you give to other men? I think you have dropped all kinds of advice all throughout this episode, but particularly, what advice would you give other men looking to start or transition into this profession? What you got for them? What's the gems you're gonna leave them with, Herman?
Oh no. I don't feel like it's a man thing. I think it's an awareness, because any man would like it, because you building on your knowledge. I feel like I have built on my knowledge. Anything that I use in my foundation, I still use those things. It's like your heart is still right here in the same place. So you learning the pathways of the blood away from the heart, from the veins and arteries. It's just like you're building on your knowledge. So I think a man would like that, right? Because if you had a tool and you put the tool in the toolbox, then you can use it for another day. So I like it because I use the knowledge. I learn it, then I use it. So I retain it. And some men think like that, right? They have to use it because they'll lose it. So I think in that way, it is helpful for a person that's like that, because you know, you may not be a good test taker, right? But you could still use your references when you're working at all times. You always use your references, right? You want to be as accurate as possible and real and very specific. So you would like it because you won't feel like you're having to rely on just not knowing. Like you always can consult with somebody. You probably don't have a question somebody has never asked somebody else before. So I would just think it would be just the awareness of it. Now, if you're an extrovert versus introvert and that affects the way you work, I don't know how to kind of address that. But is still man or woman, I think it just would take your awareness to know that in a day in the life of what it is you're building on your knowledge. So you'll like it because you'll feel rewarded by anything that you put into it. You will use it. It won't be all for nothing.
For sure. I love that. And it sounds like also it gives people options. So whoever it is trying to get into this profession, it sounds like from Herman's explanation, and I think I support it. There are plenty of options in this career field. So health information management, health information technology, health informatics, it's so wide, it's so expansive, and there's something in it for everybody. There's a little bit of something in there for everybody. We're going to talk also to some other men. I hope that you all stay tuned and continue to check out these episodes because we're going to have more conversations with men about their experiences in health information management and some of their experiences or their current career field or their current career, but the current job, their current title may be totally non-traditional. So we want you to stay tuned. We want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the Qualified's YouTube channel, so that you can know and receive notifications about episodes that we have coming up and episodes that have recently dropped, like this awesome one that is about to drop with Herman Dixon. So Herman, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure listening to you share some wisdom, some advice, some nuggets, dropping gems, all kind of stuff, giving the goods, whatever else you call it. Like it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So until next time, everyone, please again subscribe to the Qualified's YouTube channel and follow us on a variety of social media outlets. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.